Okay. So if we're looking at, like I was saying, bottom up, and we're looking at balancing our hormones, we're looking at that 3D perspective and wanting to go up into 5D. Anybody here know that they're balancing their hormones?
That they need to be balanced?
Your intention is balancing them.
Yes.
Okay, so production, balancing.
I took this prednisone and my hormones are completely off because of it.
Okay.
So I've always had a very consistent cycle, and now and I feel like this.
Okay, so balancing, right?
Hoping to balance.
Yeah. Margie, are you looking at balancing your hormones?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like across the board, I'm definitely aligned to balanced hormones. So, when we're looking at 3D up, we might be wanting to balance, we're searching for answers, we're trying everything possible. And that's not a bad thing because it's all a learning experience. We're here to experience. When we're looking at 5D down, we're looking at the perfection. We're looking at they're already whole and perfect, and we're acknowledging that with our clear speech and our clear thoughts. And we're gonna, work on today on meditation that stimulates that version of you that is already perfect and whole, which you are. It's more of getting out of the way and finding in the whole body, which if we're looking at the body map is I'm just gonna put out some numbers that just came in my awareness. 95% of your body is your subconscious mind, thinking it's leading the show. And truly it is, until you become awakened and you have metacognition and you can actually be aware what's going on when things are happening and not get whoosh, down the current. You're like, no, I see that current. I'm going to stay neutral. I'm going to be still while, there's something going on outside of me because I'm projecting the reality outside of me, or something inside of me because I get a hot flash, or, the wheels start turning. Welcome.
Hi, I'm so sorry I'm late. Forgive me for being
late. If you're okay to sit there.
Oh, in the goddess
chair? Yeah, you totally can sit there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I apologize. I'm Susie.
Hi, Susie.
Hi, Susie.
Make yourself comfy.
Is it okay to sit here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the body being that 95% that's on autopilot, it's subconscious driven. And what is it driven by? All your past programming. Everything, every memory, every feeling, every thought you've ever had, every experience you've had is that running of the show of the subconscious mind that is the body's on autopilot. And some of the most common autopilot things that I was looking at in my life this rising was, okay, I get up, I do my stretch right there. It was a coffee for years. I make a sparkly drink. Those are essentially still an autopilot. So that's again that 3D movement of just well, this is comfortable. I'm going to go ahead and just move through, my whole day. But I'm specifically talking about my rising practice. The other 5%, body 95, 5% typically up here is that you waking up and being super conscious. You waking up and going, no, I'm going to change it up. I'm going to go get a drink somewhere. I'm going to go down a different road today. You may be, speaking that way, or you just may be in flow. You're just okay, oh, I'm feeling like I'm being pulled to that coffee shop or that, whatever. So you change things up super consciously. You're willing to not just be run by the river of the 95% subconscious movements, habits, behaviors, etc. And you become metaconscious. You have metacognition to know, I would have done that again and again, but this time I'm going to flow with it. I'm going to follow my heart, the seat of the soul, to see what feels right as I'm super consciously creating this life. So I'm just kind of wanting to go up and down different perspectives of, again, 3D. We're talking about hormones today. We're talking about the endocrine gland system. 5D, your energy centers are the energetic expression, the energetic movements that slow down enough, move chemicals, which are photon light particles, with different frequencies and vibrations through all those endocrine systems, all those energy centers, your energy system is moving that, slowing down. Oh, I have a adrenal gland. It's creating that physical manifestation. So we want to become as much super conscious, awakened, and not even become. We want to allow ourselves to be this greatest version self that is really the blueprinter of the new earth. And, if I had a hat, I was going to say hats off to you, but, dress is off for you. Like, here we are, we're here to, push the envelope and go new, be new, allow new. So you becoming aware, first of all, Spirit was like, make sure they understand the endocrine gland system. Does everybody know that you have endocrine gland system? I looked at, just looking at my homework this rising, like just some memes so I can refresh my memory about what energy center goes with endocrine gland. And when you know the mandala effect, how things quickly shift in the reality, they have changed again. Where I was going from kidneys being involved in the endocrine gland system that was being matched up with the energy centers. And I specifically am saying energy centers because chakra is also a mandala overlay over the energy system, which is fine. You can recode everything once you realize that was a little bit of an overlay. When I was looking at in the past, seemingly past parallel now, I was looking at kidneys at least at 1 or 2 being identified as the first energy center or the second energy center. Some of the maps I looked at, 3 of them didn't even include kidneys. I was like, wow, they replaced it up at the 3rd to be adrenals, or not pancreas rather than adrenals. Whereas for as long as I've been talking about this to people like ourselves, I would say that the 3rd was the adrenals. So we're just going to include them all. You've got your kidneys, right? So, the kidneys, first of all, for the longest time, I thought of my kidneys like way down pretty low. They're not. They're behind your lowest rib. So just be aware of that. So feel your back of your rib,
I thought they were lower too.
Yeah.
Wow. Sure.
Your kidneys are so important as far as the physical manifestation of the energy centers because they are these lower 3 energy centers and the endocrine glands that are involved really are your survival. They want to make sure you're good, you're okay, that you're not going to be eaten by a bear. And they want to make you be able to move really quick. So if you've ever had any traumatic experiences in your life, you came here to Earth School, you might have had 1 or 2, right? So a lot of times there's a lot of old fear, unprocessed, and imprinting, literally branded into these lower endocrine systems that when you slightly maybe have something that's going on similar to those traumatic experiences, they're like firing. They're like, oh, there's that guy that looks like the guy when you were 4, or, whatever the thing is. So again, we're looking at bottom-up approach just so we can get a handle on this. And it's not bad that you protect yourself, I just got off of 5 days of clearing entities out of myself in the center. Again, it's been a doozy the past 5 days. But it's beautiful because y'all are here and you can feel the clarity, hopefully. But anyways, we need to feel when things aren't kosher, and it's a learning school and everything's perfect in place and everybody's amazing. These are all eternal souls working with you, even if it seems like they're against you. They really are for you, I promise. When you get out of the body and you look down again and you go, oh my God, that was the perfect being just trying to play that part to get me to be really strong and powerful. So you got your kidneys, typically holding old fear and things like that. But also, again, when I'm not going to go deep diving into the biochemicals, the peptides, the hormones, or the proteins that are being spewed or given out from these endocrine glands. I wanted to, but it'd be too long of a day to talk about the actual chemicals coming out. Are you good? Do you want to like push the seat up a little bit or put a pillow
No,
behind
I'm
you?
completely cool. Am I distracting you?
No, I just want to make sure you're comfy.
Okay.
Because not everybody sits there, so I just want to make sure you're good.
No, I feel
Okay.
very honored.
Yay,
Thank
sweet. Okay, so then you've got your ovaries. Most of us in here have ovaries. If you don't, and you have testes, they are an inner ovary and an outer testes. It's the same gland, essentially. And they're amazing. They're producing that sexual energy, that drive, that, you know, again, we're looking at the kundalini. We need all of these lower three energy centers and the physical manifestation of the glandular system that they're creating. We need them on point because we need to be able to rise the energies that are being stimulated, not just for sexuality, but we need to be able to rise it and stabilize it into our higher endocrine gland system, which we'll get there. So if you've been oversexed, which I know through my life, you know, there was definitely a time where I was deep down and low, you know, in a very sacred way. I mean, it was like practicing a lot of kundalini tantra. My partner taught it all over the world, and so, you know, it was like I would hold groups. There'd be a group of 12, and, you know, there was a lot of that was what our focus was, to stabilize but also stimulate the lower engine. And because we need that engine revving, you need to know that you're amazing, beautiful, sensual, you know, that you can actually drop down into your hips, into your yoni, into your legs, and feel like embodied, right? If you're just hovering, first half of my life, hovering in the body, afraid to be here, you know, you're not, you know, yeah, it's earth school, but you're not really fully embodied. So getting down into your loins, into the lower body, and being sexual, and you may find out in this ascension journey, anyone feel like you're on the ascension journey? Just making sure. It's all good if you're not. In the last book that I wrote, or came through me, was The Quantum Soul Awakens. You know, there was one little paragraph, it's not very long, about like, will sex happen again? Because it seemed like it just like fell off, you know, and what Source was talking about was that, you know, it will, but you're going to notice this evolution that starts to happen in your relationships, that you're just laying there with your partner, and all of a sudden your energy bodies start getting up and like making love in the middle of the room, and you're just laying there, or you're meditating, and you're going, hey, or, you know, they're over in Poland, and you like have this most sacred sexual dream with them, and so you start having more of this etherical sex that starts happening, that again is the next evolution. You also may start to feel like you start having more sacred sex with yourself. You know, you start really like honoring and like merging with, you know, all that you truly are. There's definitely been times where I used to lead master cleanse retreats, and I would be so turned on just from like smelling the cilantro in the garden. You know, it was like so clear that you become starting to feel whole body orgasms from this orgasmic experience called life. And I know with you all here, there's been times where we get into that bliss state, you know, especially over like retreats, where we're really dropped into like to being together, that it becomes, you know, beyond our kinky kind of sex into like this sacred experience of opening together. And that's where we're heading to, is like so cool to be out of the island, off the island by myself. And I'm sure maybe you guys have gone through that with COVID, majority of the population did. But to be coming back out in groups, you know, and being together is like where this new like kind of etherical union starts to take place, and we become able to capture bliss, rising the energy up our spine, being together, being authentic, which is greater than love. You know, being loving is awesome, but being more authentic is the most important thing. That all of a sudden we start spiraling a vortex of energy between all of us that creates these new blueprints and new worlds. So very important to be tapped in here. Don't just forget about, you know, these lower portions. That you raised your hand. Then we move up into the adrenals, like I was saying, your typical cortisol, your fight or flight, and that adrenal, you know, solar plexus. It's right below your xiphoid process. and it's also right where your adrenals are, is where the pancreas is at too. So the pancreas is more like a long, kind of, almost looks like the end of your colon, but it's a bubbly looking organ. And so these, if we're just looking at typical patterns, sex, consumption, eating, consuming, getting a lot of things, and power, the adrenals, the pancreas, like power struggles, personality, and I gotta be right, all that type of energy we're moving out of. And so any of the imbalance that has been experienced with people, typically, if any of those 3 topics have been dealt with, even control and manipulation, you're going to see that these energy centers want to be balanced, and those endocrine glands that are, again, pushing out peptides and proteins and hormones also will want to be balanced. But again, we're going to go from a top-up approach with our meditation, looking at more of our light body to assist us with the perfection of this. Any questions so far? Yeah.
I have a question. I don't have my ovaries. Am I still?
You are, yeah. So, like the phantom ovaries, let's upgrade that. The blueprint of your ovaries is still there. So, like, even loving on, a lot of people get their gallbladder, delete out, and no, not a lot of people do that. But anyways, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you have an organ that's out, just like fully, like, I love you. I love the blueprint that's there. And, I re-tapped into Joe Dispenza's work. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. Love him. I'm sure that he's having so many miraculous things happen in his week-long intensive. It's off the chain, like how much his stuff is happening. I would not be surprised if all of a sudden people are just having their ovaries show back up. Because again, that's where we're heading, is like, we're heading into the supernatural, which is truly natural. That's where the next ball game is at. And you guys are the leading, runners of all that. So love on them. And then we move up. If the main thing is, like, if we've been dealing with power struggles, control and manipulation in the pancreas and adrenals, there's a lot of dormant energy in this region. If it's all 3, you've just been like overconsumed, too much into the 3D world, like that's all that there is. I promise you it's not, when you realize what's coming, what you're capable of, who you really are. There's so much dormant energy sitting here. So it's amazing how much dormant energy is there. Once we start to lift that dormant energy out, if we're looking at just like our breathwork practice that I'll have us do, of doing the ascended breathing, where you're, breathing, squeezing your root, squeezing your rib cage, pulling in your navel, that like squeezes those glands, and like wringing a sponge out, it'll push all that energy that you've been sitting on, like it's like money, it's like a treasure, and it rises up your spine and gives you so much more power to do the magic, where we want to do like the major magic in the center of the head. So just acknowledging it, I just did a little reminder to myself about like where you are right now is perfect. Like everything that got you here, every seemingly mistake, lesson, challenge, like everything, the conversation you had before you got here, it's perfect. Like it literally got you to be here right now exactly how you are. So I'm working on, really blissing myself out about things that have still been going on in my life, and just being like, I love it, rather than like resisting it or trying to change it, just loving it. And that way it's a springboard, again, just like that breath work, it's a springboard to go ahead and love on it. If we're looking at the body map, also the neural synapses, the firing and wiring that's keeping a pattern actualizing in your life or showing up, loving on those deep grooves. If you walked in your house and you promised yourself you weren't going to say something to somebody, and it just, something takes over you, and you're like, yeah, what are you doing now? if you catch yourself, like I did, you know, just laugh later, love on it, love on that deep groove so that you can illuminate, what do you want? You want, you know, X, Y, and Z. We're going to get to that. So all that dormant energy has got to be squeezed up in practices when we're doing breath work. When we're doing the magic act, just know that's what's happening. We're getting back into the heart, the thymus gland, where, you know, your immune system lies, majority of the immune system, also working strongly with your spleen and your liver. But that thymus gland, you know, it is the most magical part of your quantum avatar. Getting your heart, your thymus gland, I'm speaking to the heart, I'm speaking to the thymus gland. They're separate, but they work together. Those two physical manifestations, and the heart is actually, I just watched somebody like stretch in a cadaver lab, they stretched out the heart. It's not actually so much of an organ, it's actually just a long band that's woven into a vortex. Right? It's a muscle. It truly is a muscle. Right? Yeah, okay. So those two working together with the quantum, what I call the quantum reactor, your ability to make superconscious reactions which move the emotional stargate open or closed, or stabilize it, or bring yourself, you know, hopefully into higher emotions. If it is a lower emotion, that's fine. You're going to use it, love on it, and what's beyond that? You know, you just got really angry. Okay, you dealt with something. You came to terms with it. Now it moved that energy, and then it's going to allow for that, anything that was bound up, to start to open. So dealing with really any of the old hurt, anger, and I just also made a post. I highly suggest a semi-renew app that I had brought back into my life to help with the entity clearing, called Healing Remembered. And Kate, she just made like this reminder about the heart, different types of heart, things that need to be cleared, heart wounds, frozen heart, broken heart, things like that. But dealing with any of those emotional, mental configurations that may want to be loved on in the heart center, because we want that, again, to be able to have your soul, the soul that you be, that is the aura in totality, that's moving in a 6-foot, you know, torus on a cookie cutter recipe, but it's beyond that when you get magical. You want that center to move from center of gravity here to center of gravity here, to center of like where you're able to be present from. Not all just thinking, manifesting, you know, all the things that we can do with this magical quantum projector, but the quantum reactor, how do we begin to master our emotions? That's key. And the best mastery I can tell you for myself is being able to be neutral. In a world that's still going through personality, you know, disorders, personality, like strong personality, not thinking about the bigger picture, you know, it's a fight. They're talking about war and stuff like that. Not in my reality so much, but I can feel it in the periphery. So, you know, when we can witness another who's dealing with their lower energy centers, it's like gripping on them, you know, you have compassion because you just had a like meltdown a second ago, you know, like you're just going, okay, this is one of those situations right now that's happening right in front of me. Can I just let it happen and not entangle or get really deeply invested in it, but just hold space? And when you do, you literally, your vortex of Taurus, your plasma photon light particle soul, it just helps spin the energy, not hold on to it. It just literally like water off a duck's back, just and comes right back towards the other, which you also are projecting, comes back towards the other for them to be able to see themselves, you know, and really go, oh, she's not engaging. You know, what's happening here? And it's like, you may watch them spin out. You may watch them all of a sudden go from no to like, yes. And you're like, wow, this is so cool. I had a lot of those happen this past week, strong, that people just shapeshifted quickly right in front of my eyes. And the key is like, don't go, well, you always say this. What do you mean you're telling me the glass is full now? You know, you always say the glass is empty. Like, you got to just be mindful not to try to like pull them back down into a lower version of themselves because you're just so used to it. Just a reminder. And if not, it's a great learning experience. So the heart, thymus gland, immune hormones, proteins, etc., peptides. We go to the thyroid, which also works with your parathyroid, and we've got, you know, your throat energy center, which is, anybody felt like they had an old situation with their thyroid in the past, or someone told them they did? A couple nodding. If you think about it, which is interesting because what I'm about to say may not, anyways, I'll just say it. If you think about authenticity, like, I've grown into this incarnation mainly trying to keep the peace. So I usually would sit on words or be a witness. And, you know, there's a lot of people like that. Maybe there's a lot of outspoken, because it doesn't have to be, it's one or the other. It's, you know, there's a spectrum of things that can cause the wheel, you know, your energy center does spin. So when it's spinning, like, it's like an hourglass, out the front, out the back. When it's spinning because of what you're thinking and what you're feeling, then it's going to push out those emotions, a.k.a. hormones, peptides, all those biochemicals. That spinning is, you know, it can be stabilized. When you're in a witness pose, you just go still. Not numb, but still. What I've seen in the past 20 years is people you become like a walking constellation. It's like that energy center comes from a spinner to like a star, like a burst of light, like an amazing light. That's where we want to get. You want to master each of these energy centers, these spinning vortexes, so that you literally drop out of, let's say that's 4D, you know, where they spin, and you rise into this higher version, superluminal human that's coming online. That literally, it's not even like, you can't even define energy center to energy center, just you become the star again. And if you've been told that in your meditations, that you are, you know, you've moved from, like, this happened to me, to configuration of stars to like a star. And then from a star, it took me into the plane of existence, that I was the plane of existence. And that was kind of that movement as I was balancing inner child, wounded child, soul, higher self, oversoul, monad, source. And then it went to, you're a star. Oh, you're a supernova. You just blew up. And I'm like, okay. So you may, again, as you're realizing that all is self, all is you, and you're learning about all these different ways that you keep popping open one more veil drops, and you become more, and you become more. Yeah.
I have a question. So this past week I went with that, and I felt good being there, and everybody was just like, oh, you make us so happy, you bring us so much peace. But I know I have my inner turmoils, right? So then I felt like a fraud. And and it's just like, you know, everybody's like, oh, you make us so happy, and you know, but then like I have my own stuff, and I don't know why I felt like that, because I'm like, I'm happy, but can you
let's talk about that. One thing that comes up when you're saying is the majority of the collective may also be going through that, you know, like deep down they're holding. So the resonant match is they're also holding within themselves all their inner turmoils, but yet you know how to maintain and hold together, right? So your skill of like maintenance and holding it together regardless of what's going on inside of you, because you know that you're going to go do your work on your workout or your walk, you're going to take it to a healthy container. Typically, that's how I know of you so far. Would you say?
Because I show up authentic. that's the thing. And you know me already.
Yeah.
And I think that makes other people feel like more. But at the same time, I felt like, I don't know, like it was. So as you're talking, I'm trying to understand why is it because I'm taking their energies on, or I'm more conscious of taking people's energies? I don't know.
And that would good. Go ahead.
Your inside, is it matching your outside?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Like you're feeling different inside than what people see.
Yes.
So I would ask within, you know, because it could be multi-layered, and maybe you're leveling up to, I'm going to be even more authentic. I'm going to let them know, like, yeah, I'm not feeling good. And I don't know if I'm feeling you or if I'm feeling me. And I'm going to work on that. You know, I'm going to work on healthy boundaries of me not taking on people's stuff anymore. Like, learn the mechanics of that. That's what I was cleaning up, you know, this past 5 days was like, what's mine, what's not, you know, what's the collectives, where did I give an invitation and an alignment for me to take that on, and then like resending it, rebuking it, releasing it, unwinding it, collapsing it, and being like, okay, my higher intelligence, I would now like to understand how to maintain my boundary, but yet still be like completely holding space and, you know, the way I know myself to be. And, you know, a lot of things they're telling me is like more hand positions, you know, like being aware of my feet, just be more aware of my body. I start, you know, I'm like working out again, working on my core, like all that's gonna help. And yeah, so like tuning in about that. Okay, so we go from thyroid, authenticity, a lot of your, you know, appetite, fatigue, mood. I haven't really been going into all the details on each of the endocrine glands, but we're getting it. And then we come into the pituitary gland. So your pituitary gland and your pineal gland, your pituitary's here and your pineal's here. So they sit just about a little bit, your pituitary is a little lower than your pineal. And your pineal looks like a pine cone. It's actually an eye. It has all the same characteristics of an eye. And, hello. Your pituitary is a master gland that works strongly with your hypothalamus. Your hypothalamus sits right on top of it. And it's a little pea size. And the hypothalamus, you must be getting to something. The hypothalamus controls mood, appetite, you know, a huge long list. Your autonomic nervous system. Are we tripping up the system, the matrix?
I was just thinking that. Keep resetting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this up here is so powerful. And the reason I was just going to say about the pituitary and hypothalamus is they are regulating all the other firing off of the hormones, peptides, proteins that are going to be coming out from these endocrine gland systems. So it's a feedback. They're reading what's going on down in the body, again, from the subconscious programming that's just like on autopilot, from the way you believe that, you know, there's going to be a gas station over there. You've already built it in your hard map. You know, you believe all the layout, the way it's going to be. You know, your bed's over there. You know, you already know how so-and-so is going to act. All these things that are held, your pituitary and hypothalamus are like receiving readouts. You know, that's that natural biofeedback of the body system, just like I talk about in other classes, how in the field, in the quantum field, in your aura and beyond your aura, you are constantly giving yourself biofeedback information. There's constantly, you know, things coming back that you're tweaking and going, oh, you know, that's not the way I want it to be. This is the way I want it to be. And your super intelligence then gives you another opportunity, whether it's a cycle opportunity that you're coming up upon because you've again built into a hardwiring map that it's on the cycle every, you know, October 8th. This is the way things are going to go down. So these are really important to be stimulating. And when we're not in a meditation practice, we're missing out. So meditating and stimulating your pituitary, stimulating the hypothalamus, and then the Monty, the pineal gland, the quantum projector of your sacred avatar that you are here to fully embody and take back possession of if you ever lost it. It needs you to have all that momentum. Let's say we're doing our ascended breath and we're rising it up, and we open our heart with the second breath, and we squeeze all that energy up to the top third ventricle where these glands, these master glands, are resting upon. You literally are getting to stimulate them to do their magic. And I'm not them, I'm gonna say pineal. Well, they're kind of together, but mainly I want to speak to the pineal. So the magic of the pineal gland is that when it's properly aroused through meditation and breath work, through just meditation, you can get there. You don't even need the breath work at a level. However, it's powerful to put them in tandem as you're beginning. When you stimulate that pineal gland, it goes through a 5-stage shift of the chemicals that are being released, a chemical that's being released that ends up to be DMT. And so DMT, a lot of people in the human tribe, are utilizing plant medicines to stimulate the DMT, which is, I've been there and that's fine, but we have the capability to stimulate on our own through meditation and breath work. And so that's really the call out from my inner child and all the children that I work with, is they want to see us as the tribe of elders, to rise up into our potential and hold that space for them so that they know that they can do this as well, just from being who they are, authentic, right? If they're rising up their central channel, stabilized, authentic, they're going to naturally be able to trust that they can produce and project the greatest world, right? So, and my head's tingling on that one. I don't know about y'all. It's like, ooh. So when you squeeze that third ventricle, when you're squeezing the energy all the way up, and you squeeze it, hold it, you want to hold it as long as you can, because what happens is there's crystals in your pineal gland that are getting pushed up against by you squeezing all the cerebrospinal fluid into the third ventricle. So your cerebrospinal fluid goes down around your spine. It's held in a sinus sac that looks like a snake skin. And that snake skin is called the dural tube. The dural tube, it's like a big long snake skin, is all the nerve root endings, or beginnings, I should say. So it's the beginning of all your nerves. And so when you squeeze up and you're pulling all that energy out of those glands we talked about, and you're squeezing your belly in, you get control of your core muscles, you're literally pushing all your cerebrospinal fluid up into the head as well and holding it there. That pressure that you're pushing against the pineal gland actually causes the rhomboid crystals, if you know the shape of a rhomboid. The rhomboid crystals that sit inside your pineal gland, when they get squeezed up on, they are piezoelectric. So they actually create electricity. Just like when you take two quartz crystals and you bounce them together, you're going to see a spark. And so that piezoelectric effect inside your pineal gland is going to go ahead and assist with all this movement of getting yourself to hit off into DMT. And you know when you've hit into DMT because all of a sudden everything stops. You see a lot of light, typically, not all the time, not everybody sees that. You get outside of yourself. It literally opens up the 8th gateway, which is your thalamus, which is inside here. The thalamus looks like a bat. It's like a bat-shaped part of your brain. And that thalamus, when it gets to actually be stimulated from the pineal gland, having the DMT hit off, a stargate opens inside your head, and you get to let go. You get to release. You get to fly. And so, like a lot of times I'll have us when we do our meditation, just a moment, we let go of the body. You're going to relax the body, let go of the body, go beyond the body into space. let go of this old version. If you are working on any kind of balance act with your hormones, let go of it. Let go of all the hardwiring, all the programs that you came in here with. Be willing to be new. So when you detach and you let go, that's when you actually, when we do some of our guided meditation or when you're at home or taking your walk, that's when you want to go ahead and start visualizing. And so visualizing your best life, whether you're just tapping into a version, you know, like today I want us just to tap into like that version of you that's magical. And not to say you're not that right now, you're embodying it. I see it. I'm not saying you are. You were definitely embodying it. But anything else that you see in your mind's eye of like that big version of you, that oversoul, that huge cosmic stellar light being, that's the being that wants to come in. And that being has all the energy centers balanced. It don't even have any energy centers at a level. It's just pure light and can do anything at any place, anytime. And it's got all its skills online, telekinesis, levitation, etc. And it wants you to remember. It wants the lower version that we've been, preoccupied with to let go, and let and allow more to occur. Deep breaths, and let's already start to stimulate the ascended breathing. So inhale into your spine, up the spine. Just first focus on inhaling up the spine. Exhale, let the breath go down the spine. On your next inhale, take your ability to squeeze your root, squeeze it up. Exhale, let it go. Release the root muscle so it's relaxed. Again, inhaling, squeezing the root and pulling the belly button in. Taking the breath on and each inhale as high as you can, and then exhale, let it go. And the next one, inhale, squeeze your perineum, your root, your belly button pulls in, and now try to also get your rib cage to come up, your lower rib muscles to pull up and in. And then hold it all the way up, and then exhale, let it go. Again, now you've got it. You're going to inhale, squeeze the root, the belly button, the ribs. Let it go. Naturally, when it just feels like you're done holding it, let it go. And your next one, you're going to inhale, squeeze the root, the belly button, the ribs. You're going to also add in a second inhale through your mouth. Open your heart on that second inhale. Hold the breath up to the top of the head and exhale, let it go. Again, we're going to keep going and then I'll stop guiding us, but you'll just keep going as long as you feel guided too. Inhale, squeeze, 1, 2, 3, ribcage. Second breath in, 4. Take the breath up, 5, 6, 7. Squeeze and hold. And then exhale, let go, release. Keep that going at your natural pace, and I'm going to go ahead and start to guide us. When you feel like you're done doing that breathing, just let go. You can always come back to it whenever you feel guided. As the body's relaxing deeper from tippy of our toes, the feet, the ankles, all the way up the leg, into our hip joint, relax and release. From our hips to our ribs, where we're doing the squeezing, we squeeze, and when we do our exhales, we really let go and see if we can soften and relax on the exhales on command, on the inner command to control these muscles. As you're relaxing on the exhale, the next squeeze pattern, really focus on inviting all the dormant energy to release out of your ovaries, out of all those inner outer testes, ovaries, the pancreas, the adrenals, and the kidneys, all those lower main. Imagine that you squeeze on the inhale, and you can even see light particles rising from those areas up the spine. Thank you to these organs as you invite any dormant energy to be set free. As you relax from the ribcage to the shoulders on that breath in, if the heart breath is something you're still doing, again, you're really accentuating on the exhale the relax of the ribcage, the lungs, around the heart, around the thymus. Let it ripple down your arms, anything that needs to move. Relaxing the neck and the head. As the body is relaxed and the breath that you take is your own choice always, I want us to bless each energy center. As we call out each energy center, you're simply going to imagine colored light, if that's what happens, and you're going to let that energy center know that you're so grateful. Thank the energy center. We'll start with the feet. Thank you, feet. Bless the bottoms of the feet, spirals of light. Moving up, bless your knee energy centers. Moving up to your root, your first energy center. Bless it, give it thanks. Illuminate it. Even if a smile comes over you, know that that smile is going to also release oxytocin to help illuminate as we bliss and bless the second energy center just below the navel. Illuminate that starlight. Blissing and blessing the third energy center. Give great thanks and bless the fourth energy center at the heart and chest, thymus gland. The illumination of the luminous human avatar, sacred system, blissed out, bless the fifth energy center. Smiling, allowing the luminescent love light to bliss out and bless the sixth pituitary energy center. As the the rays of light reach back to the pineal gland, the seventh energy center. Bloom the lotus, the full sun, source light you be. As the full sun illuminates at the seventh energy center, bliss and bless the stargate open at the thalamus together. Both the heart center and the top of the head stargate simultaneously opens, allowing you to expand beyond. Bliss and bless and give gratitude to the entire totality of the space that you hold. All the space that you hold, this quantum nervous system that exists across the plane of existence. Bliss and bless all the nodal points in your sacred quantum nervous system, calmness system, throughout the plane. With the blessing and blissing of the totality that you are, we want you to acknowledge who you really are. Acknowledge a visual of the best life, the best version you know yourself to be. What do you look like? More importantly, what do you feel like? As this blissed version of self, bliss and bless, give gratitude to who you really are. Beam this light down your central column. Allow this version of who you really are to expand into the avatar. Notice how the avatar may shed or instantly transfigure into the version of self that you see. Notice this version. How do you dress? How are your mannerisms? Any different? See yourself moving about the plane. Allow who you really are to show yourself anything that you're doing new in the coming parallel nows. Smiling and blissing through the parallel nows. Acknowledge all others as their highest version. And allow the other's highest version to acknowledge who you really are. Bliss and bless everyone and everything that has been exactly the way it was. Thank you. Thank you. I love how everything was because now I am this version. To complete this activation, allow your highest version consciousness intelligence, source presence, I am presence that may be speaking to thee. Get any final downloads. Now go ahead and give thanks. Give gratitude to all that you are, all that is,
all that you are now aligned to, and begin to gather your awareness back to the avatar body, breathing down your central channel to the 7, to the 6, 5, 4, to your hand energy centers, giving gratitude, 3, 2, and 1. Stretch your body, get grounded, drink some water, and allow for more. Practice this again and again. Until next time, see you soon.